Greetings from the New Earth Star Sanctuary, everyone. Today is April 10th, 2016. I just finished doing a gathering here in the sanctuary, and I recorded it, I videotaped it. However, my sound was turned off. Not the sound inside Second Life, but the sound for the video. So I have decided, since I really wanted to share this with my portal members, that even though we won't have the discussion part and the input from others, and I regret that because that was very good, but unfortunately we don't have that, I would like to do the reading that I did. And this is from my old source issue 1, 1988. It has to do with an entity who was communing with me at the time, very briefly but powerfully, calling herself Crystal Woman. And so I read now from this issue. As I do so, I wish to state that I feel this is a very activating energy that I am expressing here through this particular, because she was giving it to me in that form. I see Crystal Woman as a lioness in winter. She is strong, accustomed to barren places, yet she is also a fountain of deepest springs. She appears in her first earth incarnation body, that of a golden one, from an ancestry in the stars who dwelt long ago in the land that is now Australia. In most, if not all, of her lifetimes on this planet, she has been a shaman, wizard, or witch of the whitecraft. Although her spirit totem is a white wolf, she appears to have a feline quality about her. Crystal Woman's hair is white and worn long. She does not appear in old age, as her skin is smooth, golden, and without blemish. Yet there is a wizened quality captured in her countenance and the serene glint of her golden copper eyes. Her cheekbones are high, expression composed but determined. There is a fasted posture in her stance, as if she grew like a desert cactus, drawing every precious drop of nutrient from the dry sand, her roots tunneling deep, seeking hidden moisture. Thus far I have seen her wearing an animal skin of white, soft and pure, almost a contradiction to her lack of innocence. But this thought is, after all, only a figment of our concept of innocence. One may be pure without innocence, or by the same token, innocent yet devoid of purity of spirit. Crystal Woman is purity in the embodiment of wisdom. She has seen the faces of the dream time, good and not so good, yet her will has steadfastly honored her spirit with light. One morning I awoke to see her hand in front of my face. Still asleep, I slowly focused my third eye on the golden glob she held, half the size of a baseball, that appeared at first to be a large drop of honey, frozen in time. She informed me that this was a piece of polished amber, hardened from the resin of the wada, the sacred eucalyptus tree, that anchored the first dreamtime to the earth. This marvelous amber drop was flat on the bottom, rising like Ayers Rock, Uluru, from the horizon, and rounded at the top in a somewhat beveled curve. I know that she gave it to me, but as of this writing, her reason for doing so has not yet been revealed. I don't recall if it was ever revealed, quite frankly, and that was in 1988. Ayers Rock is a sacred site which through eons of time has been programmed by other dimensional beings as well as their earth-dwelling counterparts. When the crack in dimensions occurred in the most ancient past, as it will again in the future, it began at this location on the planet, bleeding through into the linear dimension. Through this opening, other dimensional beings merged with life in the area of the rock and empowered the Omontui, These were a people whose ancestry were in the stars from the constellation of Cassiopeia. They were a race of golden copper-eyed people with fair gold-tinged skin. They were 7 to 8 feet tall and moved with a grace and carriage akin to dance more than utility. By the time of the crack, the Amontui, it's kind of hard to say these names, were no longer pure Cassiopean. They had blended with a tribe of primals, thus called as they were not a star race, but a product of the Earth Mother. In other words, these souls developed and came forth from the Earth rather than from other star systems. There had also been a blending with some blue star voyagers from Rigel in the constellation of Orion. Thus the Amotui were a mixture of these three races, with the dominant strain coming from Cassiopeia. The Amotui acted as a medium or grounding channel for the Amhaunos, the other dimensional ones. The Amotui saw the Amhaunos as vestiges from their own race memory, wherein, I have to turn a page here, folks, the world of their ancestors of Cassiopeia, whom they call the Amktwa, such beings were part of their spirit origin. The Amhonos sought to direct the filtering process that had begun due to the break in the whole etheric envelope of the planet. They wished to control the energy in an orderly fashion, allowing the two worlds to meet, to touch fingers in perfect balance, or Amakuno, as the Amatui called it. This was the blessing, the rite of passage, to be Askmuno, to be unadorned but for the touch of the common spirit. The Amatui believed this to be the stripping away of all cultural ritual and honor, to be received only through the respect of mutual spirit. As centuries proceeded from the mouth of Abkhen, sorry, here we go again, Abkhem, Abakhem, which is Uluru or Ayers Rock, which was the timepiece of the meeting point between the two worlds. So the Amotui grew fewer in number. This was the inevitable fate for the people of the three paths, or three race patterns, as their delicate mixture could not bear the vibrational shifting occurring with the dimensional crack. They were a finely tuned species whose bodies shivered with the twinkling of the stars and whose hearts pumped a watery gold fluid that would become thickened by the drop of etheric pressure, causing sterility and ultimately death. Yet before the golden ones passed from the earth, so they appointed the, here's another name now, Kwahari, later to become the Australian Aborigines, as keepers of the bridge of Abakhem. Abakhem, as you'll recall, is Uluru. I think I'm going to start calling it Uluru so we won't get so confused here. Gradually, the dimensional crack healed, all but a small rift that remains today. It is consequently an especially sensitive dimensional portal through which the descendants of the Kwahari, that's the Aborigines, or the descendants of them, travel through the dreamtime, the inner plane's reality. This is how the dreamtime of today. This is the dreamtime of today, but in the ancient age of the crack, it was a much more vibrant whirl of touching fingers. This was the passage of the first dreamtime. Between the Amotui and the Kwahari, or the Aboriginal, there was another people, a small number of them, yet important to the transfer of power between the golden ones and their black earth brothers, or brethren. The Amatui chose select genetic groupings from among the Kwahari, or Aboriginals, to create a bridge race that would link the powers of the golden ones into the spirit flow of the Kwahari, without disturbing the heritage of the Kwahari as a whole. This was done in agreement between the two race tribes and the individual parties concerned. It was not an experiment performed, but a marriage between two peoples who sought the same preservation of inherent spirit knowledge and power. This was not something that could be taught. It was necessary to transfer the spirit in the blood from generation to generation. Thus now here's another word, Kwamami, or bridge people, were born. Although the Amatui no longer exist upon or in the earth, the Kwami are present as a remnant race within the Central Earth tribes. They number no more than 200, at least that was in 1988, yet they still act as a spirit link between their ancestral golden ones and the present generation of the ancient Kwahari or Aboriginal. No doubt the names have changed through the eons between the first dream time and the one today, yet the bridge people stir the shaman dreaming with the sticks of song, dappling the dark nothing with melted stars, singing the life of the golden ones into the land of the sacred dreaming. What this is indicating here is that these bridge people that are in the inner earth are the ones that are communing with, or a major part of the ones that are communing with the current Aboriginal people that are still in their cultural dreamtime modality. Now, certainly there are probably other beings as well, but those are the mainstay. Those are the ones that generated the energy and that brought up the star lineages and the frequencies of inner knowing in the culture of the Aboriginal people of Australia. Uluru, or Ayers Rock, contains a whole interface with the ancient grid. Since time is only a system of this reality, the other world beings and the golden ones still resonate with the weave of the inner universe, as they are forever becoming askumno, that is, touching fingers, from the base of Uluru to the space above it. So this rock is a field of knowing, of etheric entrainment to simultaneous consciousness. And now here's a process, and I'm going to go through it with you. I won't take a lot of time in between, but if you want time in between, you can stop the video and process it and then move on. So let's take a deep breath and relax wherever you're seated and watching this. Place yourself at the base of Uluru and step inside her. She was known by the golden ones as mother-child, mother of the Amutui and child of the Amuhunos. Begin your questing of Askmuno, the touching of fingers, by experiencing the clay of the earth. This was the first touch point of initiation for the seeking Amutui and those that were initiated after them. See the clay mix with the four colors of creation, black, white, red, and blue. Begin to paint your body for visitation as you superimpose the images of the Amahunos, or the Aboriginals, onto your body. Allow your spirit sight to reach into the dream time and draw the symbols that you need at this time upon your body. Paint also with the color vibration of the Amuhunos, which is orange, the color of Amutui, which is orange, and the color of Amutui being yellow. Green is the charge of complete circle. I'm sorry, I read that rather poorly, but the Amuhunos is orange, the Amutui is yellow, and green is the charge of complete circle. The Amatui believed that nothing could become a reality without complete circle, a concept difficult to explain, but no doubt incorporated within the image of a magic circle or medicine wheel. Very basically, it was akin to the alchemical process of one's elements consummating with its oppositely charged self, the serpent biting or flaming its own tail. You and the spirit of Amatui must become complete circle. Receive the breath of life from the nostrils of the great sea. Now begin your journey upward into the rock, into each layer of its memory coil as you proceed to the summit. Remember that in the spirit of Amatui, you can do nothing, be nothing, without passing through the creative systems of every natural thing, and that a stone is equally dynamic to an eagle. Take your time in this journey. I recommend, I was going into something else there, I'm not going to read. Let's see. As you reach the summit of Apkem, or Uluru, you touch fingers, you celebrate life. After Crystal Woman came to me, and I experienced the history speaking of the Golden Ones, I was drawn to read a book entitled Crystal Woman by Lynn V. Andrews. Ms. Andrews' Crystal Woman is also about the Australian Dreamtime, and I could not see it as coincidence that her book should come to be placed into my reality at this time. In reading her revelations, I found a striking similarity between the heritage and spiritual matrix of the Australian Aborigines and the Amatui of the first Dreamtime. Previous to my reading of this book, my only linear world knowledge of the Australian Aborigines, or I should say perhaps Aboriginals, and their Dreamtime had been the occasional glimpse on National Geographic or an Australian travelogue. Now remember, this is 1988, so there was no internet, no Google. That was the only way you got things, that and from books. Yet I do remember that on the day of the harmonic convergence, I was suddenly and unexpectedly transferred in my meditation to the mouth of a large cave around which stood several Aboriginal men painted in white. They were around a crackling fire, all staring at me expressionless. I walked up to them, and as I extended a leather pouch with some large, heavy objects in it, I heard myself saying, "I present you with the bones of my ancestors." It was a vivid experience, and not at all what I had expected to transpire on the day of the harmonic convergence. Now that ends the reading. However, I'm going to add a little more here. During our gathering today, as I concluded this, I was also picking up some current information, something that's going to be occurring on May 29th of this year, 2016, and it has to do with opening portals for 3 star races that have not touched this planet in a long time. They're very positive, beautiful beings, and they're aligned to the whole New Earth dynamic. But they have not been present with us for a long time. The portals were sealed for a reason, not because they were anything wrong with them, but or us, but we were apparently not quite ready to continue with them. And so the streaming energies that coming through the portals, any portals that are open or even just a little bit, are streaming energies through. It's not just people walking back and forth in them. It's the energies themselves. So if you want to keep the energies from coming through for whatever reason, the portal needs to be sealed. So that has what had happened, and now they're going to be coming open again. These 3 races enter through, first come through the Uluru in Australia. But there are other places they're coming through as well, other points, nodes on the planet. So I'm going to be doing a separate work, probably a video, maybe a written work, I'm not sure what yet, on this, obviously before May 29th. May 29th, so that we can have this information, because there might be something people feel guided to do on that day in coordination with that. So, but I did want to mention it because it did come through today as I was doing this gathering with everyone here. So this concludes my reading for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope it has some resonance for you. It certainly did for me. I hadn't read it in many years.